Yo, welcome back to the Stretch Plus Collective Table Talk podcast, where I stretch my friends, entrepreneurs, and professional athletes while we talk about the habits, the movement, and the mindset it takes to stay sharp and in the game. Now, every episode is a blend of conversation and faster stretch therapy, which is the trusted recovery method of Stretch Plus. I can't wait to see you guys on my table next. Like, comment, subscribe, enjoy this episode. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Stretch Plus Table Talk podcast. I have somebody who truly stretches limits with the best in the game. My guy, Adam Harrington, man, he has been around professional basketball for years. Somebody who I look up to, and I'm excited to have you on here, Adam. So thank you for coming, bro.
Excited to be here.
Let's get to it, man. Lay on down, bro. We treat our guests with the utmost respect here. So we give you guys a nice little treat with a stretch. We'll open up those hips, the glutes. But before we start, man, like I said before, we were just talking about, I want to just shout out Richie Van Houten.
Yeah.
Because of him, dude, me and you connected, and I'm super grateful for that connection because we formed our own little friendship and relationship from that time. It was what, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe at this point.
God, it's time's flying by.
Time's flying. So
he's one of the greatest humans, man.
One of the best, man. Yeah. So grateful for this connection because of you, man. Right. I've had opportunities to work with so many awesome athletes, and I am super grateful. So I just want to express gratitude before we got started, bro.
Well, feelings mutual, bro.
Thank you, man. That being said, bro, you've touched, dude, every corner of the game of basketball, right? From player, coach, development coach.
Yeah.
When did you know that basketball was going to really shape your entire life?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've been obsessed with it since I was young. I mean, I had the dream of playing in the NBA. I was able to make that happen, which is obviously incredible. And then, when my playing career ended, so I played in the NBA, the G League, which used to be the development league, the NBDL, and then obviously I played, 7 different countries. When I was 30, I had a family tragedy. My life kind of shifted a little bit. I took a year off and really had no clue what I was going to do. I started a foundation in honor of my sister who had tragically passed. And my wife looked at me and was like, hey, what do you want to do? And I just felt like making an impact, making a difference. And little did I know basketball would continue that way. I dabbled in some medical sales, I had made good money in playing professionally, but I had 3 kids at the time and I was, what am I going to do? But yeah, basketball was always something that was so special to me. And I had a passion for player development. Like, I loved working on my own game. I was obsessed with every type of skill development. I wanted to be good at everything. So then it was an easy transition for me to say, hey, I had a name in my home area. And I just started working with a middle school girl, $25 an hour. She never dribbled a basketball. All she wanted to do was make the JV team. That's awesome. And, going through it fast, like, I treated that little girl like she was Kevin Durant, Sabrina Ionescu, Elena Delle Donne, or any professional. Little did I know years later I'd be training those names.
Exactly.
But I always honored every person, every moment in front of me. And I just had a passion for helping people. And part of that was innate in just the way I always carried myself. But it was really in honor of my sister, and I just wanted to make a difference, help people chase their dreams. And, it kind of led, I started training people all the time. I was speaking, traveling the world. I launched a year-long skills academy in Kuwait City, Kuwait. We had 450 students, 2 Americans. I wrote the curriculum. They were there. I
actually knew that.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
I had to be on the ground 12 days a month. We're raising our kids. I'm traveling. And in that time, I had a mutual friend where I got connected to Kevin Durant in 2013.
Okay.
Started training him. I went 2 weeks out a month with him. It was 10 days over in Kuwait. It was crazy. At the end of that year, Kevin won the MVP, so my world kind of exploded, and I got...
How did you get, like you said, you had a mutual friend, but was that your breakthrough to training elite players like him? But I mean, arguably a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like anything, obviously I had an introduction and, one workout and I had been preparing for that moment for a long time, and the backstory is, I had become friends and trained with Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash for years since I was a rookie with the Dallas Mavericks.
Yep.
I spent summers over in Germany training with Dirk and his legendary trainer, Holger Geschwinder, who was a big footwork, balance guy, a lot of the stuff that I teach.
Yes.
And at that time, Dirk was KD's favorite player. So I was instantly able to make that connection. That's and,
awesome.
That type of training, KD became obsessed with and really and really benefited from it. So that was kind of my in there.
Yeah.
And then from there, of course, you know, when Kevin won the MVP, I had a lot of NBA teams wanting to know who this guy was and things like that. And then, yeah, a lot of other players started, you know, inquiring and stuff like that. But, you know, and I'm extremely thankful. I mean, it's been 12 years with KD. You know, you know, I think we like to both say we changed each other's lives, you know, for the better. And so I'm so grateful for what he did for me, believing in me and you know, and working, you know, and doing exactly what I said for all those years.
Trusting you, most importantly. Now, I mean, through him, were you able to, did that help you get, you know, coaching jobs with the Nets and so on and so forth?
For sure, yeah. You know, like I said, that year, the next year after, I went 1 year with Kevin, and I had never envisioned coaching in the NBA or being a coach. At that time, I loved being in skill development. I loved making my own schedule. I was able to travel. Being a former athlete, I'm used to that lifestyle of traveling and doing that stuff. So I was, you know, and then with the family, I wanted to be able to control my schedule and whatever I deemed important, I didn't want to miss, I didn't miss. And so that was great. But, you know, the Oklahoma City Thunder at the time where Kevin was playing, you know, started sniffing around and offering, and I had turned down a couple of deals, and then I ended up doing a deal, 1 year deal right before the season started, you know, 2014-15. And kind of became really close with Scotty Brooks, who was the head coach at the time, became one of my biggest mentors. And all that being said, I really, really enjoyed it. At the end of that year, you know, I had enjoyed it, but I also had a bunch of other things on my heart. Elena Deladon wanted to work out, a few other things. So I actually walked away from a 4-year extension with the Thunder, kind of went back out on my own, but I stayed living in Oklahoma City so I could work with Kevin. And in that time, I really had no clue what was next outside of, you know, knowing I had a few clients that wanted to work and didn't know what I was going to make. My wife thought I was crazy because I turned down a deal. You know, we have the 3 kids. But I kind of walked it out in faith, and I've done that a lot of times in my life. And, you know, long story short, I ended up having, you know, started working with DeAndre Jordan and JJ Redick with the Clippers. I had James Harden and a bunch of the Rocket players. I did the consulting deal with the Rockets. And then I had Elena Deladon in Delaware. So I had a direct flight, you know, to all places from Oklahoma City. Ended up making more money than I would have made in there. And in that time, I got to know a lot of NBA coaches. And I'll be honest with you, even on this podcast, like Kevin was going to be a free agent. So everybody was offering me a job and inquiring me. And also just trying to get information about Kevin. You know, they do a lot of background checks and intel and things like that. And then at the time, Sean Marks was still with the San Antonio Spurs. But he was going through the conversations to become the new GM with the Brooklyn Nets. And we just became really close and really friendly. And throughout that whole year, still in my back pocket, I thought I was going to go wherever Scotty Brooks went. You know, it was between the Lakers, Rockets, and the Wizards. And he ended up going to the Wizards. But right before that, about a week before he got his job, Sean made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. And essentially, I was the first person hired in Brooklyn when Sean got the job. So yeah, it was cool for us to kind of come back to home area. We had a lot of friends here. We're both from Massachusetts. And it was a dream job for me, director of player development, assistant coach title. And at the time, everybody knows Brooklyn, you know, they weren't going to have any picks. We had to develop everything. And so for me, that was like a dream job. Like, give me players. Let's develop assets. And I give Sean Marks credit. I mean, he saw it in me. He gave me the power and saw how I operated, let me be me. And, you know, we came here and I had 6 incredible years here. We
6 years
built it, and you know, obviously years later having KD and some of my players come back to me, James Harden and them, which was great. You know, making the playoffs and things like that. So yeah, it's been a heck of a journey,
I would say. And especially like for young trainers too who want to get to that level or you know, have the luck, I don't want to say luck, but to be grateful enough to train guys like Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler and them. How do you approach guys like that, man? I mean, you watch them on TV, they seem to have almost everything going for them. So how do you even approach a session with them? You know?
Yeah, like I said, you're always kind of preparing it. You have to be you. You have to, I mean, I've always told people, you be really good at what you do and treat people the right way. It usually works out for you.
100%.
I mean, and at the end of the day, I mean, I played in the NBA. I was a really, really good player. I'm very, very skilled. Like, so I can still demonstrate and teach. So there's always power in the testimony. If I can really show you, hey, this is how it should feel. This is what it looks like. So, I mean, I'm just turned 45. I won't be able to do that forever, but I've always appreciated and followed and loved trainers that can really demonstrate, that walk the walk, things like that. So that's the one thing. But I mean, the other piece was like really knowing your clients' games. So obviously I love the NBA. I've watched everybody, you know what I mean? So you know where you can help, you know These guys are some of the most intelligent people on the planet. Like when it comes to basketball and IQ and knowing things. So they really respect when you know their game. You've watched it. Hey, do you remember last night when this or that? You know, I used to start with KD, you know. Back in the day, film wasn't as big as it is now, and the technology is way better, but we used to YouTube clips and like, hey, this is where Tony Allen's getting your ball, Pat Bev, this is where Kawhi Leonard, and like, so I was able to help him with certain things, and when he saw himself be successful, like success breeds success. So, but that was always one thing, like really being able to talk the game and know it. And yeah, so that was kind of the biggest thing. But like I said, I had all the kind of high school kids and youth and everybody that I worked with, we were going through the same things. And I say that to be like, everybody thinks when you work with a high profile person that it's something elaborate, something out of like
simple is perfect.
It's very simple, it's very fundamental. If you watch the Kobe stuff or whatever, they just mastered the fundamentals. They were so sharp, they were so detailed. And I was a big balance and footwork guy, so we wanted to get that right, and then we really could we used to say, be planted and let God's creativity flow out your fingertips. But it always started with your feet. Those are the first things that hit the hardwood. So I really went to, when people feel yourself balanced and powerful, it's an incredible feeling.
It's amazing.
And those guys are already elite, so now you're taking it 1 more %. And then we could get really creative and things like that. But yeah, I think it was just setting that foundation and stuff. And then from there, you can get creative and things like that. But it wasn't like I was thinking like, oh my God, I got to have this crazy workout to impress them. You know, it was like, how do I take what they have now and make it feel even better? And then we can add to it. You know, and at the end of the day, everybody wants to shoot the ball better. Everybody so that's an easy sell. You can help somebody, oh my God, that feels, and instantly people, when they normally train with me, they feel more powerful and balanced right away. And it's an addictive feeling when you're like, oh, that's how it feels.
Unpack that a little bit, right? So like you said, in my opinion, I've watched you train. It's incredible watching you do what you love. Like, how do you incorporate all that footwork and balance? Because that's something I also take pride in here in the training room. You know, that's something that I've niched myself in as well. I know how it looks for me, but how does it look for you? Like, what are some things that you're working on to help them with that?
Like, I mean, obviously, I'm continuing to study a lot of people's games and a lot of different types of footwork, but like, at the end of the day, same thing. When I'm able to demonstrate what it should look like, you can follow that visual, you know? And I equate it to like, when I work with, you know, a golf instructor and they get me to the swing and it sounds right and you do it right. Now it's hard for me to repeat it over and over again, but it's an addictive feeling. It's why I either want to go back to the golf courses or you're like, man, that's what it sounds like. Or when you hit the tennis ball the right way. We all go hit it, but when you hit it like a pro hits it,
oh my God,
it's just a different sound and whatever. So it's one thing to learn the action, and the next thing is the ability to repeat it over and over again. That's what makes somebody elite. So, you know,
I love that.
And I think there's so many amazing trainers out there, and everybody means well, amazing coaches and stuff, and they'll say, hey, I can put you through this workout, but they might have put you through a 45-minute to an hour-and-a-half workout, and you might have reinforced bad habits for that time. Now you got a great sweat, heart rate up, you know what I mean?
That doesn't always mean a good workout.
Skill level, like the things that can separate you at the next level. I mean, I'm a stickler about that, and I think that most professional coaches are, and that's where player development has shifted. And there's such an emphasis on it now in all levels, and they're investing so much money on it. But it's the small details, it's the day in and day out kind of things, and it's making sure, hey, this form or this footwork or this movement is done over and over again. Like I said before, it's one thing to know what to do. Can you put your body in, and then you can do it over and over again. I mean, to me, that's what people are elite.
And that's repetition, like you said. That's doing that shit the same way every single time. And you said, you know, development is going a certain way. How do you see player development going within the next few years? Is it shifting to, I mean, we talked about overseas development, how guys are developing overseas, the game's developing over there. Do you see more of that coming back to here? In America? Yeah, I think it will shift. You know, it's obviously I'm a big fan of how they do it over in Europe and overseas. You know, the model of like, I played over there, so I saw it and felt it. Like the whole idea of like, there's a ton of skill development. So I think there's three pieces of the pie to player development. There's an individual piece. So we all got to spend time, whether that's by ourselves or with a trainer or whatever, or with a friend. We're working on our individual skills. There's small group development. So then there's groups of 2, 3, 4, 5, where you're doing driving kick actions and reading and reacting and playing with that. Like here, I'm gonna take a spot of the offense here, and we're gonna work on just this and feeling that. And then there's the play. You know what I mean? In America, for sure, we're either all in on just the individual, not enough of that, or the majority of it's a ton of play and not those other pieces. And that's an investment for those other pieces. How important? I mean, you're in it more than I am, but I understand that piece is extremely important. One of my mentors, shout out Billy Armstrong, coaches the game like that from Bergen Catholic. I learned a lot from him, but how important is that piece? People don't understand,
It's massive. It's the only way you can really develop at a steady place, and then see your deficiencies, have time to correct them. It's just like a young team, and if you play 4 games a week and don't practice, and you had trouble against the zone in game 1, and kids are upset and crying, and it's crazy, and you didn't have any time to get on it better, like game 4, it's the same thing. So then in your mind, you've wasted, 3 or 4 days. And I understand it's young, like I'm all for kids being active and things like that. But I always take it to how we would done it at the highest level. And that's essentially what I've done with my gym at the clubhouse. Exactly how we train at that level, that's how we do there. We offer everything the same. So you can come get an individual, small group, and then there's the play parts. And I think it's just an awesome way to layer development.
100%.
Because one thing you can see yourself be successful, hey, I worked on it individually. Then I felt all this drive and kick. That's how it feels. Then I did it live. And it's either going to reinforce it right away that, man, that's how that feels. Awesome. That's why we did it. Or, yeah, you were right. Like, that's how because we film everything and you watch it and you see it. Like, so immediately it triggers like, yeah, that's what they were talking about, or that's what that feels like.
And you're coaching good basketball. You're coaching the kids how to play on instinct.
For sure.
And that's the biggest part of the game.
For sure. And then you're layering it with all the weights and the nutrition and stuff. There's a lot to it. And that's the thing. I think the average fan and average person doesn't understand that goes into it is like how much time. And that's why I think there clubs and organizations now, especially professionally, are investing so much in performance staff, in player development, in nutrition, all the stuff, all the sports science, all the analytics. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it.
A lot. And I mean, that's the most, I feel like more than ever before, like the performance aspect of it is probably one of the most important pieces. Kids are playing too much, in my opinion, and they're getting injured too much. There's too many overuse injuries.
For sure.
So like the performance aspect is important. So how are you helping your guys, or how are you, the guys that you work with, the professionals, how are they recovering at the highest level? What are they doing for their bodies?
I mean, some of the top guys obviously have their own personal guys, and they invest in it. They invest in people that are really good at what they do, and they have to take time, time before the workout, time after it, all the nutrition and everything. What I've tried to do throughout the years, and I've always enjoyed this, I wanted to be a people person anyways, was connecting with these performance people, because it's an interesting thing. Like, I wanted to go into their workouts and work out with them, or just sit and watch, see what they were teaching, see how they're working, have the conversation. If a player was on the table and there was something wrong with their body, their movement, like, hey, what they're doing, where could this be impacted on the court? Or are there movements that we're doing that flare this up or whatever? How do we, hey, tomorrow's workout, how can we take the pressure off this? Whatever, just having ongoing. I was learning so much.
But that's an elite way of thinking.
You have to do it. And then vice versa. I'll give Andy Barr was a great example, like would come with Katie. He rebounded and did everything. He wanted to see what I was teaching and what I was doing in the basketball movements. Because I think so often there's too many silos. Like, I would just do my stuff on the basketball court, they would go in the weight room, and there was never any crossover, any conversation.
You need that.
I do think professional sports are getting better at it, where there is more conversation, more meetings. Because I may think there's a way to relocate to the corner, but there might be sorry, Eric, what is the best way? I'm in this position. What's my quickest, most balanced way to get out there? Just having that cool conversation, and vice versa. Sometimes there's movements in the weight room that don't directly correlate to the basketball, and sometimes that's just the basketball swag of it or the way it moves. So sometimes you want to be on the same, like, how can we help each other? What's realistic in this situation? And I think those conversations are happening more and more. It used to, like I said, everybody was so protective of what they did and what they did.
The player.
I'm all for getting better and like, hey, if this helps this player get better or whatever, like. And so I enjoy those conversations because I'm able to give my opinion on it and my expertise on it, but I want to make sure it fits into the puzzle of this whole development for this player. Because if you're doing conflicting things, again, we're regressing when we really should be progressing.
And you can never really stop someone from potential injury. It just sort of happened. But do you see that collaboration helping with minimizing injury at all?
For sure. Yeah. And I think it's at the end of the day, all of this comes down to, and we should have said this at the beginning, is developing a genuine relationship with the player.
Correct.
Like, you have to have the trust, the honesty, the ability to be like, you know what, hey, today we're taking it down a notch, and here's why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
With that being said, there's got to be days where you have the give and take on the other side.
Yeah.
Where you're like, hey, we're gonna go crazy today, but tomorrow's off. I don't even want to see you in here.
Yeah.
You're not nothing on your tendons, your ligaments. There's nothing.
Relax.
You know what I mean? And I think players are understanding that more and more.
Yeah.
You know, that old school mentality is kind of out a little bit.
Definitely.
But you have to have that ongoing dialogue and conversation with the player. And I think a lot of young trainers, and whether they're on the sports side or the performance side, they struggle with that. And that's something everybody needs to work on, is your ability to have an honest conversation, but first build a genuine relationship where they can trust you.
Yep.
And that goes back to everything we said. Are you really good at what you do? Do you know their body? Do you know them?
Too, man.
Do you know their families? Do you know their foundation? Whatever it is, how do you connect?
Yep.
And then you just build that trust. And I always prided myself on building genuine connections, because there's gonna be times where like, hey bro, we're off today, or hey, that's too much or enough, or hey, we got to push harder. Yeah. It says we're not even working. You know what I mean? And you never know, and that's what's cool about sports science stuff. But that's always really, to give you an inside glimpse, there's often long debates between sports performance coaches, because we feel like, we're judged on wins. You know what I mean? They're judged on player availability and health. You know what I mean? So it's like, and we need players being available to win games. So it's that ongoing conversation. And I think that's what's unique about it. Because with all that being said, I don't firmly believe we've already said there isn't a perfect recipe. Because injuries can happen. I can land on somebody's foot. You know what I mean?
As long as the communication and collaboration is there,
you're giving yourself the best chance.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And when you can involve the player in that, I think you're winning.
100%.
Like that's when they feel like they're a part of it, they have a decision. It's not just a computer readout telling them, or me looking at you and being like, hey, you're tired, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and sometimes it's that,
sometimes
but
it
like,
is that.
if they feel like they're a part of it and they're invested, like, then I think you're just always going in the right direction.
And there's always more buy-in that way as well, and that's most important. But shifting gears a little bit, bro, you were an inaugural coach, if I said that word right, I can't fucking speak, for the 3-on-3 Unrivaled, man, which I thought was pretty dope. How was that experience, man? How'd that shift, your coaching, man, because it was 3-on-3 basketball. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, obviously, even since I left the NBA again, with Brooklyn, I've been super excited about some of the opportunities that come my way. And that's one of the reasons I did it. One, for family, to have more time, to meet more amazing people, to build my gym up. But I had worked individually with a few of the top WNBA players, and that's an incredible experience. But I wanted to see them up close and personal. See them compete, how intense they were, how competitive they were, how hard they worked. Some of they're full-time moms. Like, I just wanted to be around it all. At the end of the day, I thought it'd make me a better coach, trainer, father, husband. That was my, we personally invested in it. So I believe in women's sports. I have a young daughter. I think it's exploding. And it was everything I thought it was going to be.
Awesome.
Now, super challenging to coach. I had never coached women full time like that.
And it was 3-on-3 basketball.
It was awesome. But I thought, again, from a development standpoint, there was nothing better than that. They had so much time to work on their individual skills and then play. That was their thing. So it was like their summer pickup game was like, hey, we're going to work all week. And you got 2 pickup games, high level 3-on-3, nowhere to hide.
Beautiful.
And it was awesome. And they were making great money, and we were in Miami. And so I thought some really unique things that came out of it was like, women had never had opportunity to be around each other like that.
Yes.
So a few of them do it in USA basketball, a few of them do it in the All-Star game. But it's never like together. In LA right now, there's 50 NBA guys playing ball, and then they'll hang out and go to dinner at Delilah or whatever it is, catch. So they're able to create that stuff more. So it was really cool to see some of the women that are so competitive during the season and just kind of hang out and pour into each other, and
that's awesome.
And work out together, which was great. Like me, Phil Handy, Teresa, all the coaches were able to work with any of the players. DJ Sackman, so you can come to me for one thing, go to DJ for another. So I thought the whole premise of it is like pouring into these women and offering just an incredible, from all the performance stuff as well to the basketball. They had never been exposed to something like that.
That was awesome.
So yeah, it was something that I was super excited to be a part of.
Do you think it's going to kind of shape the way we see females, the WNBA? Do you think it's going to make a difference? Do you think they'll get, they'll start getting paid more respected?
Yeah. Well, I think in general, women's sports, all of them are, the pay is just going to go up. There's so many brands and companies that want to get on board. We had 20 plus corporate sponsors already, which was incredible. They were obviously making way more than they would make in the W. But I think from a development wise, I think as the league expands, I believe there's 4 teams coming in the next 4 years. I think one of their goals is like, how do we get the players better.
Yeah.
And that was one of the issues. Like obviously the top players can go overseas and play, but even that you're in a constant state of playing.
Yeah.
So there's never a development season part of it, you know? And so you can see the league was a little top heavy, you know, even now, but it's how do you get it all out when you average these. So that was the thing, I think as the Unrivaled League grows and just women's basketball in general, more of the average player won't have to work a normal job or have more time or work themselves out, you know,
playing
at a local gym or whatever. I mean, I've heard all the stories and you're like, you know, now they can come to something like this or afford to hire a trainer or, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's giving them the resources. I think the game's only going to grow, and that's what's exciting. I think for having a young daughter, but even just youth sports in general, is that more and more money is being invested, and I think you're going to see.
Do you find it? Do you find coaching females different than coaching males? For anyone that's kind of has one foot in and out the other. For me, it's easier for me to coach males than it is females. I don't know why. I still try to figure out. But how do you feel like there's a difference?
There's definitely a difference. There was times I think I noticed it. Like obviously, like anything, it's developing relationships. So you know what I mean. Like when you get comfortable with obviously anybody, I think your ability to communicate in different tones and different language is it is what it is. And so I think I erred on the side of developing a relationship first before I went and probably yelled at him like I would yell at Spencer Dinwiddie or a film session with KD. But I really enjoyed the dialogue, like seeing the game from their eyes, and you know what I mean? Obviously trying to take a lot of what I learned, how I saw the game and how I would do 3-on-3. But this is one thing I've just always learned from all of my clients, whether I was coaching them or their individual skills guy, is like you can learn so much from them through conversation and dialogue. At the end of the day, Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler, Jalen Green, all the guys that I've worked with, like they're the best of the best. Like, so it's cool to have, and just as much as I want them to be open to what I'm teaching them or what I'm thinking, I want them to feel that I'm the same way. Like, oh yeah, that actually makes sense. Let's look at it from this angle, or hey, all right, cool. Now I can create this counter. Like, so yeah, I really enjoyed seeing that.
I'd like to always wrap it up with rapid questions. So I'm just gonna hit you with a couple questions. Give me your best 1, 2, 3 word answers. Toughest dude you had to play against?
Oh, Steve Francis.
Steve Francis. The youth does not know Steve Francis, and they need to know Steve Francis.
Oh, he was at Maryland. I was
they
at
have
NC
to
State.
know Stevie Franchise.
He face guarded me. Oh my God, Steve Francis.
They need favorite. I mean, might be putting people on blast. Favorite person to train?
Oh God,
I know it's a tough one.
Yeah,
you can say all of them.
Yeah. Oh man.
No offense to anybody that Adam trains you. We all love you equally.
I've always said it, and I'll keep it. It's been Elena Delle Donne.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. I had never, people don't realize how good she was, and I had never seen, she was like the closest thing to Dirk that I'd ever, like, I would have workouts with her and she would not miss a shot. But she was so attentive, so into it, but you just go down the line. I mean, there's so many, but I mean, recently, Katie Lou Samuelson, I had on Unrivaled, was one of my favorite people to work with, like, eyes wide open, incredible. Devin Booker was awesome. Like, so there's been quite a few. Yeah.
Last one. Now, obviously not one drill could fix everything, but if you could give somebody one drill to do daily, what would it be?
Oh gosh. Yeah, I mean, I'm a footwork guy, so it's pretty simple. It's like just a heel toe kind of strike. Yeah, like there's a knee bender kind of thing we do. Yeah, these broad jump shots that we kind of do, a lot of Nowitzki stuff. Those would be the ones where you're like, hey, if you can get this and repeat this and feel this over and over again, your world will explode.
I love it. Bro, thank you, man.
Yeah.
That concludes the stretch. Appreciate you for coming out there, man.
Yes.
Thank you.